Okay, now you're good. Okay, I'll call the Select Board special meeting for Thursday, April 27th, 2023 for the town of Essex to order. Are there any agenda changes or additions from staff?
None from staff.
Any from board members? Okay, let's move on to public to be heard. Public to be heard is a time where attendees of the meeting can oops, I better mute myself. And speak to the board on town business that's not on the agenda. We are at this point talking about the shorter agenda. So if there is anyone who would like to speak during public to be heard, please either raise your hand in the room or raise your hand in the Zoom application.
Sure.
Yes, if you'd like to speak, come on up to the microphone and introduce yourself.
I didn't know if you were swearing people in.
No. This is public to be heard. If you'd like to talk about town business that's not on the agenda, then.
Oh, no.
We'll have a separate meeting with the planning commission in about half an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to clarify, this is not the planning commission meeting. This is a special select board meeting. Yeah. Very short agenda that we need to address because liquor licenses are coming due at the end of the month and need to get those approved. So, okay, seeing no hands, we'll move on to the first business item, which is consider approval of first and third class liquor licenses. Vermont Cider Lab being a first time applicant. Greg, do you need to say anything first or?
No, the application has been reviewed by the police department and the town clerk's office. No concerns. But as is our practice for first-time applicants, we invite them in to say hello and hear the admonition and answer any questions the select board might have.
Yeah, come on up and allow you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And your business. Tell us what your plans are, and then select board may have questions for you.
Yeah, my name's Chris Line. My wife and I are starting a cidery called Vermont Cider Lab in the Essex experience. We are looking to we're doing a production space in the back. It's a 7-barrel system, essentially between 650 and 750 gallons per month. We're going to have our own canning line. We're going to have our own kegging situation so we can really be self-sufficient within our own space, minus our raw materials. And then we're going to have a tasting room on the front, about a 50-seat tasting room. And then we're going through the process of getting approved to do an outdoor seating space as well. Yeah, my wife and I are super excited about it. My wife's unfortunately couldn't be here. She's traveling in Cleveland, but she's had 30 years experience at the Windjammer, and so we're excited to kind of branch out on our own and take a swing at it.
All right, great. Questions? John, go ahead.
Whereabouts are you going to be located up there?
It's right in between Magic Man and Mad Taco, the old Christopher Banks space.
And then, forgive my ignorance because I don't know much about cider.
Yep.
They have to have, so it has to be legal age to come in, drink. It's a bar. I mean,
it's not. I mean, you don't have to be legal age to come in. Obviously, you got to be legal age to consume. We're going to have non-alcoholic options as well,
okay.
And we will have a small food menu, kind of a heat and serve food menu as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do you have an outlook for a date to open?
Well, as I was saying, we're at the mercy of everything coming to us, and so we're a little bit stalled right now with our walk-in cooler. Should be here within the next week or two. We've had our epoxy floor pouring and all that stuff. So once that floor is in and once the cooler's in, we can start producing. And once that takes place, it's about 4 to 5 weeks from that point where we'll have inventory and everything kind of ready to go. So we're hoping at this point, call it mid-June, would be a target date.
Okay, so you're not producing product somewhere else that you're going to bring. You're going to bring up from.
No, we're gonna.
Okay.
We have a cider consultant actually that's used to be the head cider maker at Eden Cider, who has been working with us throughout this whole process, and we've scheduled him to come and run our first batches with us just to get familiar with the tank sizes and just the different process from taking it from a hobby to a business. And so that'll be super helpful as well.
Ethan, go ahead.
I guess a short question for you.
Yeah.
What do you guys plan to do with the organic material?
So we have IBC totes.
Yeah.
So any of the spent materials, and again, this process is it's a lot different than beer. So there's a lot less spent material.
Yeah.
And it all depends on, what kind of flavoring you're putting in. And that's typically what your spent flavors are. I'll be using aseptic purees.
Mhm.
And so the sediment that occurs from that will be filtered out through our filter and then basically put into a IBC tote that's then picked up.
Yeah. You're not like using raw apples. You're buying cider.
We're sourcing the juice from
Yeah.
orchards,
Yeah. Nice.
as opposed to pressing our own apples. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
You have a signature item that you'll be producing?
We're going to start with 3 kind of main flavors. I have just a straight hard cider. And I always ferment with either, instead of using a normal sugar, I either use honey or maple syrup. And so the straight cider is just fermented with honey. And then I have a honey lemon ginger one. And then we're going to do a cranberry. So those will be kind of our 3 mainstays to start. And then we want to go into, or at least have 2 seasonal options, like a sour cherry. We've tinkered with a bunch of different stuff. Blueberry basil, honey lemon lavender. We've partnered with a couple different farms around Vermont. Vermont Lavender Farm, Allen Home Farm. They have sour cherries, and so we're at this point, all of our sourcing partners are, I would say, 95% Vermont. Which is awesome. We have some contingency plans if something should go awry in terms of supply chain stuff. We have partners in New York and Massachusetts, but we're primarily trying to keep everything in Vermont. But eventually, maybe a year or so down the road, I would venture into kind of a barrel-aged cider, which is a little bit more expensive to produce. It takes a lot longer to happen, but it's a really good product. Comes out really good.
Oh, thank you.
Else? All right. So does anybody have a,
At this time, I recommend that the select board approve the liquor license applications for businesses located in the town of Essex, listed in the April 21st, 23 memorandum reading liquor license applications.
thank you, Don. Thank you, Ethan. Greg, we don't have to make it specific to Cider Lab. We're approving all of them.
Yeah, so there's one memo for
Yeah.
this application and for the consent agenda, so I think this still suffice,
Fine.
and you'll be approving the same motion for the consent agenda.
Just process wise, I note that the police department is still in the process of reviewing some of these. Should we make that contingent upon successful police review, or if the police department doesn't?
The police have completed the review for
The ones
Vermont Cider Lab, which is what the motion is for, because this is under business, and then you're going to be consent agendas for all the renewals.
Oh, okay. I just heard applications for businesses in the town of Essex. So, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to make sure we were making the right motion.
Okay, any other discussion?
Oh, Susan has her hand up. Susan McNamara Hill.
Oh, Susan, go ahead.
Yeah, it's about the where the police department said the Lang family application was pending education seminar. That has been completed, and so they are approved now. So everything on the memo that I sent has received approval from the police department
Awesome.
Okay.
when you get to that part.
Thank you for that clarification, Susan. Good news.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're approving the first and third class license for Vermont Cider Lab. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
I
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes 5-0. That will trigger completion of whatever the paperwork is. But before you go, I need to read you our usual admonition.
Yep.
The select board takes the issuance of liquor licenses very seriously, as should you.
Mhm.
We expect you not to serve minors or anyone who is obviously inebriated. We thank you for doing business in Essex and wish you a successful year.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to trying your product.
Absolutely. And look forward to having you.
You're all set?
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Coming out. Okay, next item on the agenda is consent. Who's,
I make the motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Thank
Second.
you, Don. Thank you, Tracy. Any further discussion? We did just hear that all of the applications, the Essex applications on there have completed all of the reviews. The police department, so they can set their comments or questions about the consent. All those in favor of approving consent, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to reading file and board member comments. Anything anybody wants to bring up?
I was gonna say we should talk for 20 minutes, so make it to 6. But
No, I think we can move on. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Don. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tracy. It's non-debatable motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Hey, passes 5-0. We're adjourned. Convene the commission. 6
So-
o'clock.